actually back row on the right, and then we'll go second row left here. Back row on the right.
Ben, Jason, and Trent were talking about the mullet of legends. You got to take the hat off for this press conference today.
It's a little messy right now. It's I'm probably getting cleaned up tonight. Get it looking right for the game. So.
They describe you as like a nitty-gritty, tough guy, cowboy kind of a guy. Is that just how you grew up at Homestead? Is that just kind of what you bring to the table? What's the story?
I don't know. I've never been called that before. I kind of like it, but I call Murph the cowboy kind of guy. I think I'm probably a classic guy that you find from Wisconsin, just average Midwest guy trying to make it out in California. So.
We'll go second row on the left.
Shayne, this team prides itself on partying in the backfield, getting sacks, getting to the quarterback, but you're playing a team that might throw the ball 10 times the entire football game. How does that change the mentality? In fact, all you guys can comment on this. How does this change the mentality of the way you guys go about your business?
I mean, I don't think it changes it at all. The success that we've had has been predicated on focusing on stopping the run. I think we've done that for the most part of the season. And the part of the backfield thing is just we like to play defense aggressive. We want to dictate the terms of engagement when we play and have fun at the same time. So I think it's an aggressive but also fun group to play with, and that's what we want to do. So whether it's run or pass, it doesn't matter. The rest of us are ready to play.
Yeah, I think as a secondary, we're not thinking of it as, all right, we need to just focus on this run and, just let the pass go over our head or anything. It's one of those things where, as a secondary all year, we've just said to ourselves, all right, if the run comes to us, we need to come up and make a sure tackle. Otherwise, it becomes an explosive play. And then, just because they run the ball a lot to get that play action shot down the field, so we have to be attentive to that and just play what we've been doing all year, play fundamental ball, play top down, and as a whole team, as a defense, just keeps warming to the ball.
On the left.
Ben, we'll start with you, and then the other guys can jump in too. Do you remember watching the 2000 Rose Bowl, Wisconsin and Stanford?
Yeah, I remember that. Big Ron Dane fan at the time.
Did you think you'd go to Wisconsin?
Yeah, I probably did. If you ask my dad, he'd probably say I was out in the backyard pretending to be a Wisconsin Badger. But times have changed now. I couldn't be more happy about how my whole process ended up to be here playing for the Stanford Cardinal on January 1st. It's really been a blessing how everything worked out because I wanted to be a Badger at one point, but now to be here with these guys, I couldn't really ask for anything more.
And Ed and Shayne, you were 10 and 11 at the time, I would imagine, when Stanford played Wisconsin, right?
I think, sadly enough, I was a Cal fan at that point, growing up in the East Bay. Quickly came to my senses when my dad went to Cal. But I do remember that game, just Wisconsin kind of run in a great game, but hopefully I believe it's a different era, and we're ready to change that.
Yeah, I think for myself, being from the East Coast, I wasn't really paying attention to anything out here. I was focused on SEC and ACC ball. I do remember Ron Dane, being one hell of a back, but I don't remember too much about the actual Rose Bowl.
Would you want to tackle Ron Dane?
Would I like to?
Sure. You want to try?
Now, if I have to, then that's what it comes down to. I mean, he might not have an ACL afterwards. I'm definitely going low on him, but he was one hell of a back.
We'll go second row on the left.
Ed, as your first go-around with a major BCS bowl game as a starting player, can you talk about just what the last 4 weeks have been like leading up to this?
We've approached it no different than if we were in a regular game week. Making sure that we put in the right amount of preparation to feel good about how we can play on January 1. It's great to have guys on this team that have been to big bowl games and played in them and know what it takes to prepare and win. like these guys up here with me right now. But it's just one of those things where you don't do anything different. You don't play outside yourself. Just make sure you get in that routine. You're grinding hard during the week so you can play fast on Saturday.
Back row on the right.
Ben, you mentioned it, it wasn't just Wisconsin. There were a lot of people that didn't take a serious look at you. How did that fuel your fire to make you what you are today?
I think just coming in as a young player, Stanford obviously being my only Division I offer, it just gave you that sense that you had to come and improve yourself early on. To kind of establish your standing on my team. But I think that was 4 years ago. So I think I'm not sure it fuels me anymore. I think it definitely fueled me as a young player. But now 4 years later, being so immersed in my team's goals and our success, I think that fuels me more than anything. Getting to the Rose Bowl and winning the Rose Bowl and those certain goals that we set is now what fuels me over anything that happened in my recruiting process.
I guess as a follow-up, just because obviously, you've been pretty honest about wanting to be a Badger, obviously growing up in Wisconsin at one point. How do you channel your emotions properly to do what you need to do game day?
I don't think it'll be too different for me. Just having a whole month to prepare, I think definitely will help. Being so familiar with this team, watching so much film. So I think once we fire it up to come out of the tunnel, I think it'll be just another game, and I'll try to keep that tunnel vision focus that I try to bring to every game. So I don't think the opponent will necessarily matter. We try to approach each game like it's nameless, faceless opponents. So regardless of who's on the other sideline, I believe I'll be able to approach it the same way. Our team will be able to approach it the same way.
We'll go second row on the left.
I know this is going to be a very different answer for all three of you guys, very different vantage points from a year ago, but can you address how the Fiesta Bowl close loss maybe stays with you and motivates you, and if that has any effect, any lingering effect on your psyche heading into this game in terms of motivation?
Obviously, I wasn't an active participant last year, so that's always tough. Anytime your teammates are out on the field and struggling, it's difficult to not be able to step on the field and help them out. So to be in that position was tough, but I think it can be said for any of us that your last game of any season kind of dictates the tempo and I guess the taste in your mouth for the rest of the year. So we've obviously gone through this past offseason fully aware that we lost that game and it hurts and it kind of stings a little bit and it stays on your side, but we're ready to go. I think this is our goals every year has been win the Pac-12. We finally got it done this year, and now we're here in this platform, and we'll be ready to play. I think this is an incredibly focused group. It's always a hungry group, and so I think we'll be ready to come to Youngtown.
Ben, can you comment on that?
Yeah, playing in that game, it was a great game, obviously, and we felt like we did enough things to probably end up winning the game. But that's one of the things that we've been preaching since we all came in as freshmen is that we need to finish. Finish has always been something that we talk about every single day, whether it's in season or off season, and it's something that we weren't able to do, and it definitely stung. And it's one of those things that it sticks with you for months because it's the last game, it's the last taste that you have in your mouth from the season. So it's, this year we got to do everything in our power we can to finish, so that we don't have to sit around and think about what could have been for 6 months until we can put the pads on again. It's a terrible feeling to lose your final game and to lose it, in a heartbreaking fashion like that game ended. So this year, when it comes down to the fourth quarter, if the game's close, there's going to be no letting up from our side.
On the left in the back.
Ed, when you win 7 in a row, can you talk about momentum and confidence?
Momentum and confidence. Yeah, it's just, for us as a defense and as a team, you view can stack great performances on top of great performances. Do everything that you're supposed to do. Make sure your preparation is right and you're making the right adjustments and just playing at a high level. It resonates with the whole team, and not just the team, but in the Stanford community. You get our students at the games, and the fan base is going crazy. It definitely it's something that it's hard to explain. You feel it, you play through it, and it definitely gives you an edge where you feel like I'm playing at such a high level that nothing really can stop me right now. And as a player, you try to go and you play at that high level. Every time you touch the field. But when you're in that type of win streak, you just doing everything in your power to just keep it going.
Back row on the right.
Ben, I think when we talked a week and a half ago, you said you were going to go home, or go to Mequon just before Christmas or whatever. What was that like? What type of comments did you get? Did you have people that you've known your whole life saying, "Well, we want you to do well, bud"? What was that like?
Well, I didn't go to Wisconsin. I'm going after the game. I went to see my parents in Seattle. As you know, they live there now. But yeah, I'm going. I've been in contact with people from back home in Wisconsin. I'm going there after the game. It's going to be interesting, no doubt about it. It already has been, but I've seen a lot of support from people back there. Obviously, even from diehard Badger fans that want to see me do well. Probably don't want to see these two guys do so well, but I've said it before. I think the Badger blood runs deep. I know the fans back home are very dedicated to the University of Wisconsin, and for good reason. It's a great university, much like our university. So I think that's what makes this game so special. Is two proud traditions.